How do you find NeoGen from a versatility perspective?
Amazing. It can literally treat everything.
People ask me why I invested in the NeoGen. I needed to make sure that every patient that came through my door could be treated in some way.
Your contribution towards NeoGen has been immense, Kate. I just want to say thank you for...
You're welcome, Simon. You're welcome. Hello.
How did you guys meet?
I found her.
That look.
You can't do that!
My quick rapid fire.
Coffee to power through the day or spicy margarita to unwind?
Spicy margarita.
Easy.
Welcome to the NeoGen Plasma podcast, where we delve into the world of medical aesthetics and we talk to top practitioners about their personal and professional stories. I'm Simon Jones. I'm the president of Energist in the UK, and I'm the host for today's podcast. With me today is none other than Kate Monteith-Ross.
Why do I get nervous when you're about that?
Well, it's drum roll, please, with that name. Kate Monteith-Ross, not La Ross. Kate Monteith-Ross. And also, we have Nurse Ellie.
Hello.
And both of these lovely people work at the clinic by La Ross. Kate's the director, and you're the lead nurse.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah? Good. And I know that both of you have got a wealth of experience, and Ellie, you've got a lot of surgical experience from your past experiences as well, haven't you?
Yes, yeah, in NHS.
Yes. So what we're going to do is going to have a good old chat for the next hour or so, and we're going to talk about what's important to you guys in terms of the world of medical aesthetics. We'll obviously talk about NeoGen, and we'll have a little bit of fun at the end as well. Okay. So let's get going. So my first question is, how did you guys meet?
I found her. Begging outside the clinic to come in.
Just down an alleyway.
No, she inquired about training.
Yeah.
She was working in one of the nearby hospitals and wanted to do some training, but training that was a little bit different. She wanted exposure to all injectables, all skin treatments, all energy-based devices. And then she moved in and never left.
And I never left.
No. How many years ago was that?
That was 3.5, nearly 4 years ago now.
Oh, painful. Painful 4 years.
How do you feel about it?
I am the best pain in her ass.
That's not often I hear that statement, but I get it. So
cheers.
Great. So next question. Kate, your clinic has grown to be a trusted name in aesthetics. What was your vision when you started your clinic, and how has it evolved over the years?
The goal with it was always to achieve what we have achieved in the last 18 months, which was we wanted to be a hub for a wide variety of healthcare services, simply because my belief is in order to look good, we have to feel good. In order to feel good, we have to address that in a multifactorial way. So it's not enough. I think a lot of practitioners, they go into this industry and they have this perception that learning how to inject dermal filler and learning how to treat patients with botulinum toxin will allow you to have a successful career. And it doesn't. It's not enough. And you have to have such a wider range of services and experience. And obviously, all of us at the clinic come from a nurse background, surgical nurse background. And for me, plastic surgery has always been an area that I've been involved with privately. So it was always going to be part of our practice. And plastic surgery is a journey, preparing them for surgery, supporting them with the journey and supporting them after the journey. So in order to do that effectively, we have to have a wide variety of services and energy-based devices. And that's it. That's where we're at. It's taken a while, hasn't it?
Yeah, but we're forever growing. We'll never stop.
No, we've got big plans. We're looking for... we've been in this unit now probably 6 years, and this November 6 years. And it's just not big enough anymore. We want to bring a lot of the services... we do diagnostic services, we do a lot of other services at the clinic now, but we want to have the surgical suite in the clinic as well. So we just can't find what we're looking for, so we're going to have to build it.
We're going to build it.
That's an exciting project.
Yeah.
You think that will take off this year?
Probably not. I think for me personally, last year was a great year for me as Kate, as separate to the clinic. And because of that, a lot of things kind of got put on the back burner a little bit. It was the right decision though, because I think sometimes when you implement new services and new treatments, you have to spend that time embedding them properly and efficiently and learning how that evolves effectively. So I think it was a good decision to do, but I think probably next year will be the year that we take that next step, and it will be the right time.
Okay. So it won't necessarily change what you're doing now. It's just trying to bring it into one place so it's all integrated, yeah?
Yeah, exactly that. And making sure the space reflects who we are now, because I think we have been an evolution, even in terms of refining our team. I think that, you grow as a team and we support each other incredibly well. But it's important that everyone within that practice operates the same way as I do. And that's really important, that the mindset is there in terms of always prioritising patient safety, understanding the ethos and the sole ethics behind what we do. When I opened my practice, we were the only medical aesthetic practice in my area. And when I said I was becoming CQC regulated, so many people were like, why would you do that? What is the benefit? And I said, well, when you're not regulated, you should regulate yourself, because then you stand out even more. And all these decisions I've made that, sometimes make my life very stressful, have all been the right decisions. So hopefully now the next step, we can see more services be brought in. And the main goal behind it is obviously we do a lot of botched clinics. So we see a lot of patients who've had surgery abroad and we treat them. So obviously Ellie and I are limited in how we can treat them. In the sense we wound manage, we get them fit and well, and we do referrals, and we work closely with certain hospitals to make sure they get the care in a timely fashion. However, what happens on the flip side to that when they're left with permanent disfigurement? And that's what we want to aid. So the goal to bring plastic surgery in-house isn't for traditional goals of just to be able to provide plastic surgery in-house, but to be able to provide these patients with the opportunity to get fixed. So that's the goal. Terrible business decision, but makes me feel good and sleep well at night. So I'm rolling with it.
I'm sure you're going to carry it off, Kate.
I will.
Yeah. Ellie, so you are the lead nurse and you bring a unique perspective because of your prior experience.
Surgical background.
Your surgical background, yes. So is that influencing how you perform aesthetic treatments or what you do in the clinic?
I don't think that influences it a massive amount, but it influences it enough that we're always safety prioritising. So surgical-wise background, from a surgical patient aspect, yes, and treating surgical scars and treating post-op patients, yes.
I do think you are different though, Ellie. I do. From having nurses who work for me who come from different backgrounds, you can tell where they come from.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I think when you're a surgical background, as we both are, we think 10 steps ahead. We plan for that patient to not be
chaos.
compliant. We plan for every eventuality because we can't guarantee what that patient does when they leave. So we already pre-plan. We already strategize and put things in place to safeguard us. So you do that without even knowing.
Yeah.
And that makes you a safer practitioner. The way you I watch you when you're about to do a patient, the way you set things up, and it makes me smile because I think, that's the good girl, you do that. But a lot of people don't do that. So even if you don't know you're doing it, you are doing it.
It's probably because I'm not just a surgical background, I'm triage background as well. So I'm consistently always taking in every little tiny aspect.
Digging deeper.
Yeah. No matter what they say, I'm like, oh, what's
Develop
next?
that.
Yeah. Please elaborate. So
I'm sure the people listening to this will feel very reassured that you guys have got really high standards in terms of what you're putting yourselves through with the qualification and your backgrounds and your approach to patient safety, which has already been mentioned lots of times. So sounds very safe. So Kate, for you, how do you ensure your clinic stays at the forefront of innovation whilst maintaining a personal touch?
I think you have to be very clear about what your clinic is and what you want it to, what the service needs to be. I always talk about the patient journey, and that is very, very important. You need to be very, very clear on what that looks like. And I think my biggest challenge was conveying that and making sure that all my staff truly were believed in that as well. Because in the past, I've had to let staff go because they haven't got on board with that, because it's incredibly important. You know, I built this business from nothing twice. When I relocated, I built it again. And that's not easy, but it's hard. But that's my baby. I built that with blood, sweat and tears. No one helped me do that. So when I see things not being done right, I have to address that. And it's important, you know, standards can't slip, the basics can't slip, the small things can't slip, the consultation, the treatment, the making people feel listened to, heard to, safe.
Every tiny aspect matters.
Every tiny aspect matters. And I think, you know, I know I'm going off on a tangent, but that is important. And in order to maintain that, you have to monitor that. So that's hard when I'm away and flying here, there and everywhere and speaking. But I'm always watching. I never dissociate from the clinic. The girls will tell you, like, there's cameras everywhere, and I will be logging on through the day. And I often send them screenshots and go, "You've been sat there for a while, something wrong." and we joke about it. It's been done in a comedic way, but they know I'm never going to be that distant that I won't be knowing what's going on. And it's not because I trust them all implicitly. It's because I want them to know that I'm there. I'm not palming them off while I go and do my things and expect them to run it. You know, I'm always there. If they need me, I'll drop everything. But I think on, you know, the other aspect is getting out of your clinic, you know, engaging with wider, education, working with your peers, engaging with new technology, attending conferences and seeing what innovation is coming in. This is incredibly important. The industry is changing at a rapid pace. You're either in it or you're not. You either let things pass you by. I always say these three practitioners, the one that sees something new and kind of disassociates from it and says, "Oh, I'm not sure I want to engage with that. I'm just going to sit back and watch and see what happens over the next 2 years." You've got the practitioner who delves massively deep into that, dives in, will not, you know, does all their research, then gets on board with it. And the other one who just is frightened of change. And I think you have to be the one that does your due diligence. I think you have to ask questions. You have to understand modalities, treatments, energy-based devices. And then you need to understand how it can support you in your practice. And I think you have to ask these questions and engage with it. And I think that's where the growing comes and the staying at the forefront.
Excellent. I think what I'm also hearing is by getting things right first time and not taking shortcuts, you actually reduce your level of complications significantly.
100%.
Because when complications happen, they're really difficult because there's a patient involved, isn't there?
Yeah.
So I really get how you guys have a very high bar on your safety.
So I'll redirect this question to you then, Simon, you know, just to put you on the spot a little bit. So you're asking us from our perspective what we think, what are the credentials for a successful clinic. In your opinion, you know, you have a lot of experience in this industry. You have a lot of experience dealing with practitioners of all levels. So what would you say, what makes a good clinic?
Well,
The clinic by Ross.
Me?
well, I think you've already given me some really good tips here. So I'm going to echo a little bit about what you said there. So I really do feel that safety is the number one thing that you need to get right. You only have one chance to get it right. Yeah. So getting it right with whatever treatments you're offering is really important. So patient safety, because you develop their trust and you can go on to have a very long relationship with them. And I think that also means that you take a product and you do your best to understand it and you deliver it in a way which, you know, you understand it's going to be a consistent outcome each and every time. So I think from a patient safety, that's really important. I think you have to, you know, use the right amount. What I mean by that is either the right level of energy or the right amount of filler or something like this. There's no point putting in more than you actually need. You should actually tailor the treatment to what they need.
Yeah.
And what I'm hearing here is the communication is very good in your clinic with your patients. And I think that's really important as well, because you've got to manage expectations. Yeah. And there's that opportunity, again, to further the relationship, to build that trust. If you've got great communication, even when things aren't going necessarily perfectly, you can keep things on track by being very good at communicating. I think you need to satisfy your patient's needs. Happy customers equals happy practitioners equals good successful practice. So I think by getting them having a great experience from first contact to follow up is really important. I think I'm seeing a lot of clinics doing better at the digital side of things now.
Yeah.
It's really important. How do you go about winning or maintaining your customers and winning new customers? You've got to be doing what everybody else is doing and putting yourself out there, and getting people to buy into you. And that's a lot of that's happening digitally at the moment. So I think having a really strong digital approach, social media, is really important. Then I think you need the right technology.
Of course.
Hint, hint.
Oh, of course.
No, but it's true. It's true. It's very difficult for practitioners when they perceive it as very difficult when people start out, because a lot of them will disengage with technology on the basis or behind the, I'm not going to say excuse, but I'm going to say excuse, behind the excuse of that's out of my budget or I'm not there yet. And I hear this saying all the time. You're not there yet because you've not done it yet. That's it. And there's the famous saying, you build it, they will come. And I think a lot of people are waiting. I hear this phrase, we haven't got that patient. I think technology is massively a massive role in how you treat your patients. If you want to treat them globally, you want to give them experience, you want to give them results, you have to engage with technology. It's just not enough to do dermal fillers, skin boosters, and botulinum toxin. It's not enough.
Yeah, I would agree with you, given that I do sell an energy-based device, and I go on to say that maybe plug in NeoGen a little bit here. That maybe not. I won't do the talking here, but how do you find NeoGen from a versatility perspective in terms of?
Oh, amazing! It can literally treat everything. When we have this conversation all the time in clinic. What's everyone's favourite treatment? And I'm like, no, NeoGen, hands down. I don't need to argue it. It treats everything. Mm-hmm. Skin laxity.
How about, so it does lots of skin conditions is what you're saying there, yeah? How about like different ages, genders, skin conditions,
Absolutely.
sensitivities?
It can quite literally treat anybody, everything, whatever you want. Done.
Yeah.
And I think this makes a difference when people are looking to invest in a technology. One of the reasons when we did a poll within the Nurses Network and we asked practitioners, why don't you engage with lasers, for example? And their feedback was, one, because of the price, and two, because they feel that in order to be a successful laser clinic, they'd have to have multiple lasers. Now, taking that aside, people ask me why I invested in the NeoGen, and the simple reason was I needed to have a technology for me that was versatile enough that it could treat a multitude of patients. I needed to make sure that every patient that came through my door could be treated in some way.
Be a NeoGen candidate.
And that's the key, because otherwise, how am I going to get a return on investment if I am so structured and limited in terms of how we can treat
of patients? Yeah.
I mean, we both, Ellie and I, do our 50-50 treatments of the NeoGen. We both love the NeoGen. I think we kind of approach our patients in the same way. I think
we do approach it
you
similarly.
used to be meaner than me, but now you've gone the other way.
Yeah, I
Meaner, meaning
higher level
I used to treat.
not meaner. That's more tailored.
Thank you, thank you.
Do not. She did. She used to be a lot more intense, and I used to always kind of operate within the 1.2, 1.5. And at one point, Ellie was always pushing more for medium high energy treatments. And now you've gone completely the other way, haven't you? Like completely the other way. Like to get
Yeah.
you
Maybe
explain
that's just
why.
me-
That's your judgment.
Maybe
right?
that's just me tailoring to each and every patient.
So I understand the direction. Where are you,
Yeah.
Ellie, with your what's your kind of you
I
tell
do.
me.
I start out a lot lower now. I used to just go full whack and
Mm-hmm.
be like, right, that's it. You're on 1.6, 1.8. You can do this. But now I am starting a lot lower, 0.8. Do a couple of treatments, like good solid passes, and you still get an amazing result.
But you will though I think this is where the education comes in. When I became a prescriber, one of the things that we had to do, it wasn't enough to understand how to read the BNF and to be able to go 200 milligrams 5 times a day, whatever. It's not enough. You have to understand how it's working on the tissue.
You
have to understand the pharmacokinetics and dynamics of that drug to be able to track how it travels through the body and does what it's meant to do. And a lot of people, I believe, buy or invest in machinery or energy-based devices, for lack of a better expression, without truly understanding how they work. And I think if you understand how the NeoGen creates or what its mechanism of action is, then you truly understand how you can tailor those treatments.
Don't get me wrong, I still do a high energy treatment.
I mean, you did a 1.8 the other day.
Yeah, I'm going to get her above 2. I will.
You will.
I'm determined.
But the thing is, this is the point though, again, without making you feel bad, I think when you first started using the NeoGen, you did have this maybe thought process of higher is always going to be better.
It's always better, yeah.
But then as your knowledge grew with NeoGen, your experience grew with the NeoGen, you understood more practically about that, how it achieves what it achieves. Now you know that you can play around with that technology and that truly make the most of it.
And it's so versatile.
Incredibly.
So versatile.
And we're not actually getting paid to say this. Like, we mean it, which is like...
Yeah, no, I'm
sometimes
kind of fixated. I can't say anything at the moment.
But, when you say this, I genuinely think sometimes people, and I would, to some extent, believe that statements like this have been, rose-tinted.
It's easy for me to talk about it because I am not getting paid. I'm not anything to do with the NeoGen other than the fact that I just do the treatments all the time.
And you love them.
And it is my favourite treatment to do on anyone,
No,
even
it is.
myself.
That's really, really great to hear. And I think just to cap off the versatility comment, it's about face and body as well, isn't it?
Oh, 100%.
I've
been all over the body.
Yeah?
Yeah, literally.
Quite literally head to toe.
Yeah.
Actually, I can remember seeing some photographs from Kate, which were very, very interesting.
I should have probably
wink.
introduced them before, just putting them on the next slide. But again, it was to highlight the versatility.
Yeah.
And again, sometimes we're in a unique position when you truly understand a machine and how it works. Just because it's not been done before, as medical professionals, we make clinical judgments all the time. So in our opinion, we made a clinical judgment that was an incredible thing to do, and it worked.
Yeah. I love how practitioners explore with NeoGen. And it just is in a position where we can only really promote what it's cleared for. But our practitioners are able to safely use NeoGen on other areas of the body, which are getting really good results in places that you wouldn't think so. But moving on.
Moving swiftly.
So one other thing about kind of right technology is the tailorability. And you've already talked about how you're tailoring it to the client. How about the recovery? Does that come into the conversation in the consultancy?
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
When we get to know our patients well before we recommend a course of treatments. And sometimes we know, for example, if we've got a patient who is perhaps a little bit more anxious, we safety net in the sense that it's all about being completely transparent. And it's a decision that we make together, even if we knew that it would be better for her to have this higher energy treatment, do less, for example. It might be that it's a joint decision that we're going to do a much lower energy, but we're going to commit to more treatments. And that, it's a decision that you make. It's a conversation that you have. And I think the beauty of the NeoGen is you can you can achieve the same things in different ways, can't you?
I think you have to kind of under-promise and over-deliver with them.
100%.
So you extra prepare them. Say, yeah, you're probably going to be from day 7 to day 10 with downtime.
If they're having a high energy treatment. In all fairness, I do think people have, because perhaps they've seen a picture that's in that first, I always say in that first 24 hours, there'll be a period when they look very spicy, for lack of a better expression. However, having the treatment, how that looks and how that feels are very different. But that's a very, very, very short-lived phase. And on average, the way I present it to all my patients is for the first 24 hours, you might not want to engage in something. You might want to just relax and chill out for the first day. The second day and the third day, you'll be fine to carry on. Can you wear makeup? Yes. Should you wear makeup? It's probably better if you don't and just keep your skin super hydrated. And then by day 4, day 5, you're peeling and you're good to go. And we fine-tuned the aftercare as well. We combine other treatments with the NeoGen. We know after the NeoGen, the skin is incredibly ripe for absorption. You know, we can use it gives us a great mechanism to work with other products, whether that be amino acid replacement therapy, whether that be exosomes, whether that be polynucleotides, you know, the list goes on. But it provides that option.
Of opportunity.
Absolutely. Yeah. Again, enhancing the results, speeding up the downtime. And why we talk about patients' experience within the clinic, and part of that is 1, trust, and 2 is getting the results. So if you know you can present a solution for them that will deliver, we're hitting all those goals.
I think we'll move on, but I'll just add some quick things to this. You know, the right technology's got to be reliable, and it's got to be well supported, So, how's your experience of being supported by Energys been?
Do you want to?
Great.
You speak.
You sure about that?
I'm not being paid. No, I'm joking. No, it's been amazing. Anytime we need any help with anything, good old Susie and Tyrone are there to help us. So
I think it's great to have the group, though. There is
that little
support group where everyone who has the device is on there. And that's incredible because you've got an incredible range of professionals. You've got dermatologists, surgeons, doctors, nurses. And every single one of them is as valuable as the next because they all provide context, they all provide their own experience. So if someone has a question, if they're thinking about whether it's safe to treat a certain indication or a certain presentation,
pop it on that group.
And within seconds, you're getting the benefit of people who are not only incredibly clinically and medically experienced, but also incredibly NeoGen experienced. So they can give you that reassurance and that safety net and perhaps tell you how to adapt the treatment to effectively do it. So that, I would say, is, in my opinion,
the most valuable.
Yeah. And it's also nice to be able to contribute that. Yeah, we love all the team. But I think the reality is we don't actually need much. You know, the guys check in with us on a regular basis. How are you? Yeah. Do you need anything? But the machine is great. We don't have any issues with it. When we order, it's always efficient. I can't comment on if anything went wrong because nothing's gone wrong. So from that perspective, you know, I can't really provide.
From a machine that's used multiple times a day, I'm very impressed that nothing's gone wrong.
Yeah. Thank you for that. And we pride ourselves on the reliability and the support that we bring. So it's really good to hear your positive feedback on that, guys. So, Kate, you've done quite a few studies with NeoGen and polynucleotides, for example.
Yeah.
Do you want to just say a little bit about that?
So I'm trying to think of the first study I did. I think it was periorbital rejuvenation using NeoGen and polynucleotides. So essentially we wanted to see whether priming with polynucleotides would enhance the results of the NeoGen. The logic was to focus on the eye area because, let's be fair, well, for one, we get a lot of patients in the clinic who come in to have surgical blepharoplasties, but they're just on the border of whether we could potentially achieve it non-surgically. So we have a lot of these patients. So we wanted to see if we could take a incredible device and enhance it, and what would happen. And I think we both went into that with the assumption that it probably would help supercharge the treatments a bit.
Yeah.
But I think the feedback, and I think the results that we got were that it improved the downtime and improved the experience of the treatment itself. So that was unexpected, and that was great to share that with our colleagues and our peers. We've also done. I've just finished writing a study for acne scarring. That was an incredible result, and that was treating post-inflammatory hyperpigmentation and acne scarring by combining NeoGen with exosomes, and that's due to go into aesthetic medicine next month, which is great. And we've got another one as well, which is there in its form. It just requires me to write it. I'm hoping I get the chance to do that at some point. But the acne scarring one, I was just too excited, so I had to kind of prioritise that one.
And were the results good?
Incredible. What we wanted to prove with the other one was that you can treat higher Fitzpatrick's 4 and 5 without worrying, and higher energy treatments. So we treated them on 1.4 joules and 1.5 joules, 2 passives. And then we combined that with exosomes for the element of melanin regulation. And we wanted to see whether it would help reduce the risk of pigmentation. And it did.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
So your contribution towards NeoGen has been immense, Kate. I just want to say thank you for...
You're welcome, Simon. You're welcome.
I look forward to seeing you in Chengdu next year.
Yeah, Thailand maybe this year, we'll see.
Let's see.
But you know what? The thing is, full disclaimer and absolute disclosure, those were written because we wanted to, because we decided, Ellie and I, we got a great result, and we were like, we need to write this up.
We need to tell someone about this.
We need to write it up. Like, there was no commercial agreement for these studies.
No.
There was no, can you do this? It was, we've created this. This is incredible. People need to know about it. Because we stopped doing things. That is the only way we learn. We learn through mistakes. We learn by sharing.
But thank you, and you're absolutely right. But I think it also elevates your clinic and you as individuals as well. If you're contributing to science, you're contributing to learning of other people, then I think that's a really cool thing to do.
Yeah.
So in terms of, let's talk about the Nurses Network. Yeah. Okay. How's that going?
Yeah, a few more grey hairs, but we're getting there. No, it's going great. Incredibly well.
Good.
So for those that obviously don't know, 2 years ago, I believe now, nearly 2 years ago, I decided, because obviously I have so much free time, it was a great decision to start business number 5 with 2 friends of mine. And we had the vision, self-funded vision, that we wanted to create a community that was completely independent from any commercial gain, that would be a safe space for people to talk and share and learn in an evidence-based, patient safety-focused way, and to ask questions that ultimately they need to know. It came off the back of delivering training. You know, I did a training day with Tioxane up in London one day, and there was about 20 people on this training day, mix of doctors, dentists, nurses. And by the end of the day, when it was Q&A, the questions that I was being asked were nothing to do with the training that we just delivered. And it was questions that in my head I was thinking, not in a disrespectful way, but why are they asking these questions? Like, these people are incredible. These are great injectors. How do they not know those answers? And it just dawned on me that there is nowhere for those clinicians who've come out of the NHS, they've gone into a business, who do they ask? You know, I'm very different in the sense I've run businesses since I was 18 years old. I was a teacher first, a nurse second, and now I bring everything together. But for those people who don't have that weird, which I feel is very organic, but that route into my business, who helps them? And that was it. And it's evolved. And now we've got incredible partners, you know, multi-million-pound companies supporting our members. We've got over 11,100 subscribers from all over the globe, nearly 1,000 members. paying members who come together at the regionals and at, you know, annual events and just support each other in a safe space. And it's great. So long may it continue.
Congratulations to you and the rest of the network.
Let's
That's
quickly
amazing.
just plug the Belfry.
Oh, yeah.
May 16th.
May 16th, just saying.
Good for you. So, Ellie, the clinic uses NeoGen. We know it can be combined with various things. What combinations are working best in the clinic?
Best in clinic for me, and probably you as well, is using exosomes post NeoGen. However, I'm also using polynucleotides interchangeable with the NeoGen as well. So sometimes I'm doing it in the same session with NeoGen, and sometimes I'm doing it 2 weeks prior to NeoGen. But either way, it still primes the skin to that perfect level of hydration and just cellular repair. And
As we know, you're going to improve, you're going to aid the depth of penetration with the NeoGen, the more hydrated the skin is. So anything that can aid us doing that. For those who don't have the budget for that, we'll give them a growth factor serum, which is incredibly hydrating. We'll tell them to use that 7 days before. We do also give all our NeoGen patients electrolytes.
Electrolytes pre and post.
At the conference that NeoGen had last year in London, we had the benefit of listening to the 2 gentlemen in the States. Sean, and one of the concepts that we took from their delivery was their one and done concept. And obviously, it wasn't that they treat all their NeoGen patients with one treatment, but they did highlight, and what I think we took from that was doing the treatment in isolation isn't enough. We need to, it's going to do incredible things. So let's supercharge this. Let's give it everything. So now we treat it almost the same as we do surgery, in the sense we prepare them for the NeoGen and we manage the process afterwards. And we've kind of just done the same as we would do with a surgical patient. And since we've done that, it's just been so much better. And
that's bringing our surgical background in.
Yeah, but it's right, because we have to take advantage of the changes in the skin straight after to be able to get that absorption. We also attended a conference in December, and it was dedicated to regenerative medicine. And one of our colleagues, Sash, he mentioned how he kind of does a concept like 30 days after a treatment, he will give them what he calls, it's like a super booster treatment, where he combines, I think, what was it, PRP, amino acids and polynucleotides, and he does that with laser. Now, we're nurses, we're risk averse. We wouldn't mix all that in and then inject that. So we don't do that, but we took that concept. So now if we have a patient who's incredibly photo damaged or perhaps needs the Carlsberg of all NeoGens, then we will get them in halfway point between the treatments, and we will supercharge the treatment with amino acid replacement therapy combination with, probably we tend to do it with more polynucleotides, don't we?
Yeah, mainly polynucleotides.
Polynucleotides, aminos, and then growth factors. Yeah.
So, Simon, have you seen any clinics integrating the NeoGen? And if so, are they doing it with any other modalities?
Definitely. I can answer that question and say absolutely yes, but I do need to say beforehand that NeoGen is a great device on its own. Let's not lose sight of the fact that it can resurface, regenerate, and tighten skin. As a standalone device, it's doing the job of many other modalities all in one. So just put that to one side for a minute and answering your question. So it definitely doesn't take away the need for injectables, but what it can do is give you the best possible skin that you can have, the most volume you can have with your existing tissues, so that then you can look at the architecture, you can look at the result after the NeoGen, and you can decide where the need is for extra top up.
Yeah.
But with NeoGen, you're probably going to need less injectables.
Yeah.
Without NeoGen, you're going to continue giving the full amount. Combining with other energy-based devices, I'd say that IPL, HIFU, they're good, let's say. But NeoGen is superior in terms of resurfacing.
Without a doubt.
100%.
There's, you're talking about using lasers when you want to get to the resurfacing equivalent of a NeoGen. But with NeoGen, you're treating all the surface. It's not fractionated. So I'd say that you can use it with an IPL, you can use it with HIFU, you can use it, IPL to shatter the pigment and then resurface it with NeoGen. You can use HIFU to tighten the skin, but you're not getting any quality improvement. So therefore, you want to use the NeoGen to get the resurfacing improvement. And that's dealing with the epidermis, but let's not forget that we're still changing the dermis to get the long-term dermis improvement in terms of the tightening and pore improvement and scar remodeling, etc. So yes, very combinable, and I can see it working with injectables, with energy-based devices and topicals. We don't need to say any more about how well it's being used by you guys in terms of its ability to increase skin permeability. So yeah, very combinable.
Well, when we was in Paris at IMCAS, I presented the study that's getting published next month, or one of the cases. And I think there was a gentleman there, a dermatologist, who at our Q&A at the end was asking me to do a comparison with CO2. And my answer was simple. If you're treating acne, live acne or acne scarring, this is a multifactorial problem. We have to resurface, but we've got fibrotic tissue. The benefit with the NeoGen is it will permeate into those deep levels, and we age at every single level. And this is the whole education within aesthetics at the minute. It's trying to get practitioners to understand that it has to be a global approach. We age in our ligaments, we age in our muscle, our deep fat skin.
Don't I know about it?
Absolutely. I feel your pain as well. But
not me.
Oh yeah, go away, Ellie. But we do.
No, I am
and
30
so
this
in
year.
order to treat our patients effectively, we have to have something that allows us to address those levels.
On every single
every
layer.
level. And that's why when I had that Q&A, in my opinion, the CO2 did not do what the NeoGen did. It just didn't. And I know that because the patient had 6 sessions of CO2 before he came to me. So fact.
Great example. Let's just have this quick fire question round thingy, Bobby. So I'll ask 5 to you, okay?
Go for it.
So just answer instinctively, okay?
Okay. I'm nervous now.
Here we go. Ready?
Yeah.
NeoGen or microneedling?
NeoGen.
Skincare routine or in-clinic treatment?
Skincare to routine.
Treating new patients or working with long-term clients?
Working with long-term.
Morning clinics or late-night treatment planning?
Morning clinics.
High-tech devices or hands-on techniques?
High-tech devices now.
Right, for you, Ellie.
Go for it.
London aesthetic trends or stay true to clinic experience?
No, stay true to clinic experience.
Holistic skincare or targeted treatment plans?
Oh.
Targeted treatment plans for me.
Yeah, targeted treatment plans. That's a hard one.
It is.
This one's a little bit easier. Coffee to power through the day or spicy margarita to unwind?
Spicy margarita.
Easy.
One game-changing device or a whole range of smaller treatments?
Just one game-changing device.
Agreed.
Great, well done.
I feel like we haven't got 5 questions for you. Go on, think of one. Think of some for Simon. We've got to do it. We can't
We're
just...
all wrapping up now.
Ready?
We're going to do a couple. Go.
Quick question for you. My quick rapid fire.
Go on, rapid fire.
Kate.
Boom, no, you can't ask it. No.
Kate or Raj?
You can't ask that.
Right, I can answer that question.
You don't have to.
Politically.
Yeah, do it.
Yeah, I'm going to say Raj in terms of he's done such a great job in terms of the education that he's
so
brought
great.
to NeoGen, and I love him to bits and his banter.
But he's such a nice guy.
I'm with him tomorrow, so
He's so nice.
Yeah, he's amazing. And then I'd say Kate in terms of everything that she's done in terms of studies, her engaging approach, and the support that she's brought to Energous and NeoGen, and just her personality.
Can't
is so
believe you
strong.
asked him that. You're so mean.
So yeah, I can't answer. I've got to give you a political answer. Really difficult.
Do you know what, though?
That was a really good answer.
That was a really good.
Very
You were
good
put on the
answer.
spot.
Well,
She's
yeah.
just mean. I wouldn't do that to you.
No,
I
well,
wouldn't do
it was
that.
true how I answered it. You're both very, very amazing people. Thanks so much for your time. It's been fantastic to have both of you here. I really, really appreciate you being here and everything that you're doing. And you are rocking it in terms of your clinic and what you're doing with NeoGen. So, yeah, keep going, guys.
Thank
See you again shortly.
Thanks for having us.
You're welcome. Thank you for listening to the NeoGen podcast. If you're a practitioner, you'd like to more information, you can go to our website at www.neogenplasma.co.uk. Similarly, if you're a patient, consumer looking for a treatment, a NeoGen treatment, which I highly recommend, then please go to the same website and you can find the clinic near you on our clinic finder page. So thank you ever so much for listening. There'll be more NeoGen podcasts soon. Thank you to Mango Eyes for helping with the production of today's podcast. Look forward to talking with you again. Thank you. Bye.